What's going on, guys? JSGC here, and we are here for another Manchester City video. Today we're going to be doing another daily Manchester City transfer update. Before I do crack on with this video, make sure, like always, if you are enjoying the content, do subscribe to my channel. I'm going to be doing daily Manchester City transfer updates throughout the whole January transfer window for you guys to stay up to date with here first and fast on YouTube with all the latest Manchester City transfer news. So if you haven't already, do subscribe. It is free. Social media links there in the description if you want to go and follow me on my Twitter, Instagram and TikTok. Email also in the description too if you want to hit me up for any sponsorships for any videos or any general business inquiries. Also, don't forget to leave a thumbs up. 300 likes is the aim, and don't forget as well to get your thoughts in the comments below. I do apologise, we didn't have a transfer update out yesterday. There was not that much news, if I'm being honest. And also, Manchester City, they were in action taking on Newcastle United, which I'm sure you guys are all revelling in the post reactions to the game for Manchester City, and a very important 3 points. But here predominantly now as we head into a little winter break and Manchester City having a few days off and heading out to Abu Dhabi at some point next week as well, we're going to be focusing on this channel very much on transfers. I'm not expecting Manchester City to be that busy in the January transfer window. However, doesn't mean Manchester City aren't working on things in the summer. There's lots of things that are being put in the pipeline, and that's what I really want to get my teeth into, because David Ornstein, we've only got one story to speak about. I said it's pretty quiet out there, but what David Ornstein has said is very interesting. He says Manchester City, they want a right winger, and some players that have been spoken about: Pedro Neto over at Wolverhampton Wanderers and Michael Olise over at Crystal Palace. So David Ornstein has said that Manchester City, they permanently want to use Phil Foden in central midfield, and with Bernardo Silva having his release clause active in the summer, the right wing position for Manchester City is very much a priority position in the summer. Manchester City are putting their feelers out there and having a look at what seems like they're looking at Premier League proven right wingers. We've not really replaced Riyad Mahrez, and I think that's what Manchester City have in mind when they want to bring a right winger into the club. They're wanting a player who's going to track back. They're going to want that defensive winger, so to speak, on that right-hand side. You've got it on the left-hand side with Jack Grealish. His keep ball is fantastic. Manchester City seem to look more defensively sound, more comfortable and more confident when Jack Grealish plays on the left-hand side. And you've got the explosive Jeremy Doku as well. If Manchester City want to run at teams and they want to attack teams and take the game to them, Jeremy Doku's that option. You look towards the right-hand side, we've got De Bruyne coming back from injury. He's got a cracking low cross on him. You've got Bernardo Silva, another option for Manchester City. Been a fantastic option for Manchester City as well. And you've, of course, got Oscar Bob, fresh from his last-minute winner against Newcastle United yesterday, as another option who can play both as a centre-forward, behind the striker, on the left and on the right-hand side for Manchester City as well. So Oscar Bob, very much a player of interest for City. But should Bernardo Silva leave, and I think that's what the do-all and end-all is here, should Bernardo Silva leave, Manchester City are going to be left short. We are very much a squad that's stretched thin. Should Bernardo leave, there's no player out there that's like Bernardo Silva. There isn't a player who can play in central midfield and on the right wing as good as what Bernardo Silva is. I am amazed. 50 million euros is his release clause, not active to any Premier League team, but active to anybody else outside of England. I am amazed. Real Madrid, Barcelona, Paris Saint-Germain, Bayern Munich, etc., are not doing more to try and sign Bernardo Silva. We know Bernardo Silva wants to go to Barcelona. The likelihood of them having 50 million euros to spare in the summer to sign him for his release clause, to me, it just gets less and less realistic as the days go on and we approach towards that summer transfer window. They quite simply don't have the cash. However, PSG do. Bayern Munich do. They're options for Bernardo Silva. I don't think that's where he wants to be. He wants to be in Iberia. I would say that if Benfica had 50 million euros, Bernardo Silva would contemplate going there. And I wouldn't rule out, if Bernardo Silva ends up not getting a move this summer, he may sit down and say, do you know what? I'm going to see out the rest of my contract at Manchester City because I want to head back home to Benfica once my contract is done with the club. That could be an option for Manchester City. If Bernardo Silva decides into the summer that he's going to stay at the club, We don't really need Michael Olise or Pedro Neto. It's certainly Manchester City shelling out money when there are other priority positions. I think David Ornstein's saying it's a priority position because there's a release clause there for Bernardo Silva, and I think the expectation at the club is Bernardo Silva, his release clause will be met by a team, and he will end up leaving Manchester City. And to me, there's only one team, one only, who I think Bernardo Silva could sign for this summer, and it's Real Madrid. I don't see him going anywhere else. I don't think the other teams have got the appeal for Bernardo Silva to leave Manchester City to go to them. And I don't think the destination he wants is Spain. I don't think Barcelona are going to have the cash to be able to afford him, which means you're left with the other Galactico, the other giant in Spain, which is Real Madrid. And it is, I will tell you right now, very quiet with links of Real Madrid to Bernardo Silva, which is why I said I'm amazed for a player as good and as high quality as Bernardo Silva that he's not getting linked with a move there more. And Real Madrid aren't doing more to try and make that transfer happen. There aren't many players who improve teams, top teams in Europe. Bernardo Silva walks into any starting 11 of any team in the world, as far as I'm concerned, because he is that good. And he's available for 50 million euros. I'm amazed that teams aren't all over that. Fingers crossed from a City point of view, teams aren't going to be all over that, and we get to have at least another season of Bernardo Silva. But we're getting to a point that it's becoming predominantly obvious to everyone that Bernardo Silva wants to leave Manchester City. That's why he signed a new contract at the club with a release clause. He knows that there's now an affordable release clause. He's not going to be priced out of his move, which means should he leave Manchester City, City have to have an option in place, which is why I think they're putting their feelers out right now. Michael Olise from the summer and Pedro Neto is very much the name that's being mentioned right now at Wolverhampton Wanderers. Pedro Neto, Michael Olise, they're not going to come cheap. They're probably going to be more expensive than what we would sell Bernardo Silva for, which blows my mind because Bernardo Silva offers more than what Michael Olise or Pedro Neto does. But that's the situation that we find ourselves in. Bernardo Silva leaves. We need a central midfielder desperately. We need a right winger desperately as well. So there's lots of directions that Manchester City could choose to head this into. I think that's why they were umming and ahhing about Cole Palmer, and they wanted to send him out on loan so he could get that experience, bring him back to Manchester City, because we don't have to go out and shell out, what, 50, 60, 70 million pounds in the summer to bring a Premier League proven winger in. You've already got one in Cole Palmer. They chose not to put a buyback clause in his contract. I think there's mistakes have been made when it's come to Cole Palmer, because I think he would have been the ideal Bernardo Silva winger replacement, but that ship sailed. He won't be back at Manchester City. I'm confident when I say this, I don't think we'll ever see Cole Palmer back at Manchester City, ever. That ship has sailed. I think that's a situation that City could have handled a little bit better, but this is where we find ourselves in, and this is what we're keeping an eye on now as we head in towards the summer transfer window. There has to be other priority positions as well. Manchester City surely will be looking at least one, maybe two central midfielders, in particular looking at that gap in holding midfield. You imagine Calvin Phillips will leave, so Manchester City will need another option. We were linked with Declan Rice. We made a move for Declan Rice. Arsenal managed to sign him ahead of us, so Manchester City will have another look at that position in the summer. May Manchester City, if they want to go back to a solid back four, may they want to look onto the left-hand side. I certainly think Manchester City will be looking at 3, potentially 4 players in the summer. It'd be nice with the January transfer window open now to maybe go out there and get one of them targets, because our squad is already stretched thin, and I think having some new blood, some fresh energy into the squad would be great for a last push for Manchester City heading into the second half of the season. But as of yet, not hearing too much on that, of course. Anything does change, I will keep you guys up to date every single step of the way with what is happening with all the latest Manchester City transfer news every single day here on YouTube. So if you haven't already, do subscribe to my channel. It is free to subscribe. Also, don't forget social media links there in the description if you want to go and follow me on my Twitter and Instagram. Email also in the description too if you want to hit me up for any sponsorships or any videos or any general business inquiries. Do leave a thumbs up. 300 likes is the aim. Leave your thoughts in the comments below. Who do you want Manchester City to sign in the summer to replace Bernardo Silva on the right wing should his release clause be activated, which is seemingly what Manchester City are preparing for? Do let me know in the comments below. Pedro Neto, Michael Olise, anybody else? let me know in the comments below, and I'll see you all again tomorrow, religiously, for the next daily Manchester City transfer update. So I've been JSGC. Thank you everyone for watching. I hope everyone is safe and well. And before anyone starts commenting, the t-shirt's red, it's Adidas. It's Adidas, calm down. I'll see you soon. Peace. Ciao for now.